Hi, hello everybody. I'm your host Naiara, and welcome again to our program, From God to Youth, here on God for Us. Well, this program is aimed for you youth that believe or don't believe in God, because at the end of the day, we all need advice. The best advice comes from the Bible. One of these days, I was just watching TV and I saw another celebrity just divorce. Just I'm gonna get a divorce. And it's funny how common it is nowadays. Everybody's just getting divorced. It's just crazy. And the main problem of divorce is when it affects the kid. Sometimes the kids think, oh, the divorce is my problem, it's my fault. And it's really not. So that's why the title of this program today is Their Divorce, My Problem. And here we have our friend, Jazmine. Well, how are you, Jazmine?
I'm doing good.
I'm glad, Jazmine. So, please tell me a little bit about you. You went through the type of parents that were divorced and stuff. Tell me a little bit about it.
So my parents got divorced when I was about 3-4 years old. And so because of that, I didn't have much memory of my parents actually being together. And so when I was going through all of that, I went back and forth between homes. And sometimes I would joke around about living out of a suitcase and everything. So I had a whole system happening, and I think that's what helped too. So anyways, they had a system where I would be at my dad's house during the week, and I'd be with my mom on the weekends because he would be the one that would take me to school, vice versa. I would switch every so often. As time grew and I got older, I ended up spending more time with my mom because I was closer to her. And so I would spend maybe 2 weeks there, then 2 weeks at my dad's, or so forth. And then as I got older, basically it was my decision, so I could see my mom and my dad as often as I wanted to. And so that was kind of what it was like. But it wasn't very tragic. They always did everything for the benefit of me. And there wasn't a lot of hostility that I had to witness. So I was very thankful for that. And I think that I've been very blessed to have the situation happen as it did, because it wasn't as chaotic as some stories that I've heard between parents and their children. So that was a little bit of what it was like.
But did you have a point in your life that you just said, well, this is not right? You understand? Like, oh, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. Have you ever had that point in your life?
Honestly, I can't remember ever having those thoughts, because of the fact that because I was so young. I was around 3 or 4, so from what I can remember, my parents were apart. Yes, I knew that, everybody's parents were together, but I grew up that way. And actually, now that I remember, when I was it was my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and we had a worship time on a Wednesday or whatever at school. And this guy started asking statistics about whatever. They're just like, stand up if you've been through this, stand up if you've been through that. And he hits the one where he's like, stand up if you're in a divorced home. And I remember when I stood up and I looked around and I saw the people who were in divorced homes. It wasn't a huge number out of the people that were there, but it hit me. I was like, I'm part of a statistic. This isn't right. And so it hit me emotionally.
Oh my gosh, I'm part of a statistic.
Oh my gosh, this is not good. This really sucks. And so that's, I think, would be something that maybe that you're talking about. Well, that's what it was like for me, was just at that point seeing that, wow, I am part of a problem that is in America. But like I said, I'm blessed that my situation was made a little differently.
True. I do know some friends of mine who their situation was not as good as it should be.
Right.
And it's funny that some of them, they hold a grudge. I have friends that are just rebel. I'm like, why are you acting like that? You're already a grown person. Why aren't you acting differently? And they still go back saying, oh, because I didn't have a family. Right. Sometimes being a family, like, my father wasn't there, or even the mother, she ran away or something.
Right.
They weren't there, and that's, we should not have that grudge on us, right? I really think we shouldn't. And I think the problem now is, I mean, I'm just gonna tell a little bit about me. I also had a family that they weren't together, right? They were separate. Right. I grew up in a family that was separate, divorced, and all this kind of stuff. One thing that was cool is my mother and my father would always talk to me, and I understand that some of them don't talk to them. So what would you tell those people who parents just doesn't talk to them? What was your advice?
My advice would be, are you talking about parents talking to the children or parents talking to one another?
Parents talking to their children.
Talking to their children.
Should they talk at least to their children? That's the main thing, because most of them just doesn't.
Right. Well, one of the things that's really important, whether you're in a family unit, whether you're together or separate, is that there's that communication, because even though you may be divorced, there's still a connection, and it's that child. So, so one of the things that's really important for the parents to do, at least what it was helpful for me, was to be able to explain to the child the situation, and also show them that no matter what happens, that they are still loved and that they are still important. Because when they have that disconnect between the family, where they don't see that love, then they're wondering, okay, what's it going to be like between me and my parent? I know it was difficult for me to have a good relationship with my dad because of the fact that the parents were split. So you kind of lost that important aspect of the father and the mother working together. So, so it's really important that both parents talk to the child one-on-one and explain the situation a little bit, encourage them, help them feel reassured that things are going to be okay, and also sit down and explain to them what life may be like, because they may not know or understand what's going to happen because things have changed. So now they need to know, okay, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for, say, my parents, my mom or my dad? And they don't know if they're going to lose one of them or whatever. So that is very, very crucial. And so that would be my suggestion for the parents.
What is your suggestion for the kid or for the youth that the parents never spoke with them?
Reach out to the parents. That takes courage. It takes courage, and it takes a lot inside of you, and humility, because you want to stand up and, I can do things on my own, I don't need you, but that's a buffer. That's a way of just shielding yourself from what's happening, and you really need to make sure that you can put your guard down and be honest with them, and just say, like, hey, it hurts me that you guys never talk to me, or anything. I know that's something I appreciate with my mom, was the fact that anytime there's a disagreement or anything, she she made an environment where I could come to her and talk to her about something, to say that, I don't really like this, or, I didn't appreciate this, or if I had questions. It may be really difficult because you kind of want to handle things on your own, or you want to do your own thing, but it's really important to search and see what is it that you need for real, true healing, and be able to have the courage to talk to one of your parents about the situation as well. So that would be my advice as well, and also depending on God, because sometimes when you're in a home like that, you feel like you have to depend on yourself a lot because you miss that factor. I know that I became very independent, not in a bad way, but because of me being an only child at the end of the situation. So yeah, definitely depend on God, because He's the only one that can help you in every situation.
I was thinking here, there is this character in the Bible, Joseph. Even though I think Genesis 37 talks when the brothers sold him, but Genesis 39 start talking when Joseph was in Egypt, and he was through almost his entire life just not having his parents. Not only his mother died, he
lost his whole family.
He lost his whole family. His mother that he loved, his younger brother he loved
his
so much.
Mother, who's super close with,
it was gone. It was gone. But the most amazing thing is that he still had a parent. Yeah. He still had one parent. It's God. All his trust was in God. So even though that our parent is divorced, or we can't, or we don't see our mother, or we don't see our father,
or even if we don't have anybody to go to,
or even when we don't have nobody to go to. Exactly, God is there.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing you said. And just trusting God. That's all we can do is just trust in God.
You know, that reminds me of a verse, and it was in, if I can remember it right, it was Psalms 125, and it actually talks about how when you trust in God, that you are as a mountain that cannot be moved.
Mm-hmm.
And when you read the rest of the verse, it talks about how I was thinking about it, contemplating it, and I was like, wow, if you really think about it, who can push on a mountain and move it even an inch? It's completely
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavy, it's sturdy, it's not going to budge one bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's like when we trust in God. We'll never have to worry about falling over or losing hope, because trusting in God is something that will endure forever, the strength that will endure forever.
That's true. God is our strength. And I'm so glad that you're here, because it's two different perspectives. You grew as a Christian, and those who don't know, I lived in a household with divorce, parents divorced, but I wasn't Christian. I became Christian later on. But even now that I'm thinking here, now that I'm here, and I see that God always took care of me, even when I was younger. God always took care of me. He was like, hey, that's okay. You still don't know nothing about me, but I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to take care of you no matter what. I will be your father, or I am your father.
Amen. Mercy.
Do you have any final message for the youth?
My message to you is just to keep your head up, stay encouraged, and don't lose hope. In the moments that you feel weary or you feel that nothing is going to change, just remember that there is someone watching over you who cares and loves you very much. And one day soon, you're going to be able to have the life that you dreamed of as well. And even your parents, being able to have that connection with them again. So continue to keep it in prayer, continue to trust in God, and don't be afraid to reach out when you need to and find answers.
Amen. Well, guys, thank you for coming, and thank you so much, Jazmine. It's always a pleasure. I gotta call you, come here again. I'm so happy. And my dear youth, I know that you're right there, just saying, "Hey, you don't know how's my life." Maybe you're thinking it's more complicated. Maybe you're just really thinking my mother, my father, they are here, but they're using drugs, or they don't care about me. I try to reach out for them. I do understand. I really do understand. I not only by friendship, I know by experience. And at the end of the day, God was always there for me. Even when I did not know him, he was always there for me. And I want to share you a verse. It's on John 14:18. And he said, I will not leave you orphan. I will come to you. So no matter what, God will always come to you. And he promised you he will not leave you orphan. And when this is all done, when this is all finished, I want you, my youth, just stop and look up and say, God, that lady right there that I don't know how to pronounce her name, she told me that you said that you will never leave me orphan. Look at me. I am orphan. Help me. And never forget that God is always for us. May God bless you.